Phil Thompson is with us to look back at the Champions League last night. Phil, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Just listening to that load of absolute rubbish. I think it was Johnny talking about Atletico Madrid. It's anti-football.
No.
So in your day.
Don't get me started. Listen, I know and I can understand it takes everything to make a football match, everything. But they crossed the line. They crossed the line time and time again. And I like things and everything. And Man City of an art of stopping the game when anybody's counter-attacking. That is maybe dark arts. But these take it beyond the pale. And they got the just desserts last night by not being able to score. They just lose it. And I'm sorry, Simeone, people say they love him. I don't want to see him in the Premier League. I think it'd be absolutely... He's Mourinho on speed.
Last time I was on with Tomo, I was warning him that Liverpool were by no means certainties whatsoever to get over Atleti in the Champions League, and Phil Thompson said no worries whatsoever. What happened, Phil? Atleti can pull it off in these games by their sheer shithousery, pretty much.
Yes, they certainly can, and they do it. They get there. But it's horrible to watch, and I'm not a complete purist, and I wouldn't. We did things sort of, but it's nowhere near what they do and what they go through, and it's not nice to watch at times. I didn't watch the game because I was at Anfield watching that, but I heard all the stuff. I heard arguing on the radio about it, people for, people against, and it's my opinion. I do like the way City play. I'd much rather have it. What Foden did, I haven't seen it, but he wrote back, it's not the worst thing that's ever happened.
No.
What some of the things that Atletico Madrid do is crossing the boundaries of good football.
It's an ethical thing, Tomo, isn't it, though? Because it's just, if that's my football team and I'm the manager, I would not ask them to do the things that Simeone obviously gets them to do.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Suarez, for me, when he was at Liverpool, he was a narc, he was horrible, he was this, but he was our narc. and you take everything that came. When he went to Barcelona, he was a demon. And when he the way he treated our players in the first leg, when we got beat 3-0, was absolutely dreadful. And I hated him for it. And it's what you accept when it's your team. And I look at it, and I try and have a look at it, and we've come up against Atletico Madrid, and they're an absolute nightmare.
It's funny.
Really are. Anyway, let's talk about proper football.
But Manny was taken off, you got to remember, the first leg, that because they were trying to get him sent off, he was on a yellow, and that's the way they roll.
Well, I think it's Jurgen Klopp talked about the heavyweight boxing fight that we saw at the weekend, and we all know styles make fights. So that was at the weekend. It was two amazing pugilists. This was Street Fighter versus pugilist, and sometimes it's good to watch those. Like, look, I mean, I would love to have seen what extra time would have been like. That was the one thing when they had a chance fall to them in the 13th minute of injury time last night, which in and of itself tells you exactly how mad things got. But so you were at Anfield, right?
I was at Anfield, yeah. So I didn't watch the boxing match.
I saw the team and was like, there's just been a few weird results in Europe over the last 24 hours. Maybe he's made too many changes, but it turned out he didn't.
Yeah, you can imagine the chat in the sort of the rooms that I was in, and it's one of them. You go, ugh. But you also realise as a coach that there's times when you think you can pick your games where you can give those players a rest when you know the workload, what's coming up. And I think at 3-1 in the first leg, if there was a chance for Jurgen to be able to do it, it was this one. He had the cavalry on the bench. He made 7 changes. And when you think players are playing together, they haven't played for quite a while, it's not going. And obviously that happened at times, particularly they kept getting through. And they gave it a good game. It made for an exciting game. At 3-1, you think it's done. They wouldn't lay down. Benfica wouldn't lay down. I don't know how many times the ball hit the back of our net. It could be 7 or 8 times. And you're waiting for VAR. They got a couple of goals. They had a couple disallowed. it was quite a roller coaster.
It's pragmatic as well, though, Tomo, isn't it? Because I've no idea how Klopp can get this Liverpool team. And there's a small suggestion that Salah's... Well, it's not a small suggestion. It's a suggestion that Salah's form has dipped a bit. But, like, the level of, like, games week in, week out, midweek games, different competitions, and the speed of the game at the moment, that they still have to keep producing it. These players do... Like, a rest is no harm to them whatsoever if you can get over the line.
Oh, listen, I'm one of them. People say, oh, back in my day, we played 67 games. We never had rest. The game has changed, guys. We've seen it, the intensity, the challenges that get put in. You know, these guys are now have to be physical specimens to be able to perform at this level week in, week out. And it has changed, I'm afraid, for some of my ex-colleagues. They may be going, rubbish. But it has. And I look at some of these guys and what they put through and how quick a lot of it is. And it's wonderful. So you have to manage the workload. And you hear about sort of recovery and then preparation all the time in games. Our sort of preparation for the next one was how many pints we'd have 2 days before the match.
What's acceptable for Liverpool now, Tom, in terms of what they win?
Listen, it's going to be extremely difficult. You look at the games. If there's a preference, I would love to win the league. And that is. But
you'd pick the league over the Champions League?
Oh yes,
yeah.
The league is the bread, but I want to see us win it in front of a packed Anfield, and that would be wonderful. When we won it a couple of years ago, the stadium was empty. They still made the most of it. It was a wonderful occasion that they produced. But I want to see it in a packed Anfield. So if I'd want to pick, nobody's done a quadruple for the reasons which we're talking. It is so hard. You look at how good Man City or how good Liverpool are, you don't get people talk about it. But if there's one football club in the English League that could do the quadruple in the Premier League, it is Liverpool Football Club. With the power that is Anfield, with the power of the fans, the way this team plays, the squad that it looks. When I seen the team yesterday, you looked at the subs bench and you went, "Oh my goodness, how good is that?" So that is giving us a good edge.
How important? Sorry, let me ask this question: is there any other importance to the cup game than the cup game itself in terms of the psychology for the rest of the season? If, for example, Liverpool were to beat Manchester City, is there a possibility that sets them back in the league, or is it completely an individual competition, one-off match, and so therefore not relevant at all to anything else that happens?
No, it is. You're right. It's a one-off match. I think he's obviously focused on that when you've seen the team that he produced last night, Jurgen. And I think it is with just trying to give them a rest because that's the next game. And he's being able to do that. And then we've got Manchester United on the Tuesday, which is a huge game, which, we'll all be scratching our heads if again he makes lots of changes for them Man United, because this is massive. And then we've got the Derby game coming up, so it rolls in one. But take first things. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I love the way Manchester City play. It's going to be a proper game. It probably should have been 3, maybe 4-1 up at half time, but not having that strike force. So this will be a little bit more on level ground, playing at Wembley, and I would think over the 90 minutes, you'll see a better Liverpool team than what you did at the Etihad.
Sorry, I was going to ask: is it the full Liverpool team for the game against City at the weekend, or is it Caoimhín Kelleher and perhaps Tsimikas and maybe Salah on the bench? And actually, the Man United game, in the context of what you're saying, the league is still right there for them, and the Champions League with the draw they have, you'd expect them to get through over 2 legs, and so there's 3 games to win the Champions League. The FA Cup important, but not that important.
It sounds great, doesn't it? Now, the FA Cup is that important, and that's the reasons why he is rested. It's not only because it's the FA Cup semi-final, it's Manchester City. So you're up against... And if, no disrespect to Manchester United and what's going on, what's happening there, it's still a massive game. But if he was going to make 1 or 2 changes, I would think it'd be in the Manchester United. I wouldn't see wholesale changes as we've seen last night. But there might be 1 or 2 who might be carrying a knock, the likes of Matip, who finds it difficult to play sort of midweek weekend, midweek, weekend, all the time. It might be that. And Canate's looking at absolute dream. He's a wonderful player, so there's no problems making these changes.
He's got to prioritise the Man United game, though, Tomo.
The what? Sorry?
He's got to prioritise the Man United game over the two.
Sorry?
Like, he's got to prioritise effectively...
No, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, yeah, he's got to prioritise the Man United game over the Man City game.
No, the Man City game is the big game at the moment because it's the next one. And it's a massive game because Manchester City, you need your best players playing to give you the chance at winning the game. I still love the FA Cup. Maybe it's not as important to the sort of the players of now or whatever, but to the fans and ex-players, it is a wonderful competition. And I'd love to see them. So he's managing that. And I know the Manchester United is huge. But take each game as it comes now. And you will realise, as he did with the Benfica, he was able to make those changes. And if the Man United game comes along, everybody's fit and healthy, it'll be his best team will play in that.
All right. We're looking forward to it, Phil. Great to have you with us. Thanks a million.
Cheers, guys. Take care. And Atletico Madrid are the gang of rogues.
They obviously are. They obviously are.
That's why we love them. Lovable rogues.
Lovable rogue, yeah.
Ta-da, boys. Ta-da.
Good luck. It's Phil Thompson there. I do think that maybe at this stage of the season, that whole every game is a priority is kind of...
It's true, but the roster is insane. How can they just keep maintaining these levels? It's just
next year there are going to be 5 subs, and actually I think that's a disaster for...
I'm not a fan of that either, but...
It doesn't make any sense to me, really. Like, if you're trying to make the game... If you're trying to make it competitive at the top level, you're building in...
Having the better teams as well, like...
Yeah.
But yeah, like just the roster and like you're looking at the league and the likelihood is they're not going to win the league. But at the same time, as Phil says, I think most Liverpool fans would prioritise that over, like, as in they'd love to win the league. And as he says, with fans more than, and they've had Champions League previous, like they've won the league once, and obviously there was no one there. So I think he's probably right on that one. But
well, the Villarreal, I mean, notwithstanding how Steve McMahon was writing them off, you would make them strong favourites to win that. And then they're in the final in a one-off game against a team. Yeah,
I think that their best chances is definitely in the Champions League over the league. I mean, statistically, that's clear-cut. But I think they'd prefer... also the league, I mean, the position they've come from to have even a chance is incredible. And the league is still, whatever about the FA Cup, the league is still basically the main thing in England, to my mind anyway. It's probably for Guardiola at this stage, like, okay, we need to win the Champions League. But Liverpool, they know what it's like to win the Champions League. I think they'd love to win the league in front of fans as well. I think Tom was probably speaking from the Liverpool fans on that one.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting time to be.
The FA Cup is a different one. I don't really know where they stand on that.
Well, I do think that it matters that it's at Wembley, and I do think that it matters that it will be. I don't really believe in one game to the next, but they drew at the weekend and they drew last night, so it's like, you know, back-to-back draws. But if they were to beat Man City, your winning culture, the atmosphere, the mood, the confidence is very, very, very high to catapult you into the rest of the season after that point.
Yeah,
and also it's a big setback for City.
Exactly. So it's a double-edged sword.
But does that matter to City in the league when they're playing, you know, cannon fodder? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it obviously depends on what teams are picked in the game, but it's a difficult one for Klopp because I think he still has to prioritise. The Man United game is, to my mind, I think that's their toughest game in the run-in, I think. If Man United even represents a tough game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It depends.
I think that's off the top of my head. And City's toughest game, I think, is West Ham.
I think it looks like West Ham have completely prioritised the Europa League.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be in the Conference League next season, so